Don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Look, Gavin's got one thing he can do. He can release the water that comes from the north. There is massive amounts of water, rainwater and mountain water that comes due with the snow, comes down as it melts. There's so much water, they're releasing it into the Pacific Ocean. And I told him, it's a political thing for the Democrats. I don't know.
I played the tape. You said it to him in front of him in 2018.
I said it to him in front of the media and everything else, and nobody talks about it. The media never picks it up. You put it out. I was so happy to see that tape because some people said, is that possible? They have water coming down from the Pacific Northwest, which is a lot of water. So much water that they'd have to let some of it go at some point. They don't need reservoirs. They don't need any. They're spending all this money on these reservoirs, and they're fake reservoirs. You know, they're
yeah, check that out. Nice.
This morning, what went through your mind?
Well, I have to be honest with you. It really hasn't hit me all yet. I mean, I've got 60 years of memories in that house and 3 children.
Yeah.
Now it's hitting me.
Great entrepreneurs and innovators, but this is not the person I knew even 2 years ago. And with respect to Elon, I just don't have the confidence that there's other things that he's not up to behind the scenes, not just, again, what he's expressing quite publicly. And I'm very concerned about a country where people like Elon Musk, others that are sucking up to Donald Trump, that will undoubtedly be carved out of regulations, undoubtedly get massive, even larger.
Resign now or put your hands behind your back, sir.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Why this beat so crazy?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Oh boy. Trump is finna set it off. And up next is California. California. It looks like a nuclear weapon went off in Los Angeles. Oh boy. Let's check it out.
Sanctuary states, by definition, or sanctuary cities, they're aiding and abetting in the law breaking. Okay, they're going to get federal funds.
Yeah. We're trying to get rid of them. We're trying to end them, and a lot of the people in those communities don't want them. You know, California is a big example.
Would you cut off their money?
I might have to do that. Sometimes that's the only thing you can do. Look, California is a great example of it. If you actually polled the people, they don't want sanctuary cities, but Gavin Newsom does, and these radical left politicians do. And, you know, if you asked them why, they couldn't even. I watched Gavin Newsom try to answer that question. He was unable to even answer. He looked like an idiot. He was unable to answer. I asked him one other question. Why is it that you don't want millions of gallons of water a day pouring throughout California? You know, the farmland in California is, they say, the equivalent of Iowa, great land, but it's got no water. And you sit there, and it's literally, you can see it burning. It's on flame.
Sure.
All they need is water in that big farmland. And I ask them, why? How is it possible that you're not allowing this water? They divert it out to the Pacific Ocean where it drops into the ocean. And you know what it's like? It's like nothing. To the Pacific Ocean, it's like 2 glasses of water. It's nothing. Millions of gallons of water is diverted way up north in California into the Pacific Ocean. That water, you know, they have the pipes in it. It's half pipes. You see them all the time, half pipes. People live in those half pipes now. You know, they have homeless living in those half pipes. But this is water that millions of gallons of water a week and a day in some cases, you know, depending on the flow. So much water they wouldn't know what to do with it. Your sprinklers would be filled. They can even, remember when I took criticism because I said you have to manage your forests? The head of a country that lives in forests, a number of them actually, Finland told me this, Austria told me this.
You know, warnings come before destruction. Warnings come before destruction. And all the warnings that Trump has said, they wipe them through the mud. And not just Trump, many others. And you wonder why a lot of prophets and people been saying, if I was you, I would get out of California. A lot of people said a long time ago that California is going to burn down. People been warning people, get out of California. You probably don't want to be there. And not even just with the fires, just as a whole. Look at the leaders there. Incompetent. DEI didn't earn it.
Of Austria, head of Finland. And it was beautiful the way they expressed it. They said, we live in a forest. We are a forest nation. That's beautiful, isn't it, to say that? We have trees that are the most magnificent in the world, far more beautiful than what they have in California, and much more flammable. Mm-hmm. He said, we don't have forest fires. We manage our forests.
You can get a degree in forestry.
Well, they'll do cuts, yeah. Can you imagine? But you don't need much. You have to clean the floors of the forest. You know, when they had forests, I go to see some of the sites I watched in California. They use billions of dollars of money. And they do say, you know, I mean, look at what happened. Los Angeles, that's like a nuclear weapon went off, what's happened to Los Angeles. And, you know, that thing went for 4 or 5 days. Nobody was even fighting it because they didn't have any water. Their fire departments aren't funded properly. And the firefighters were brave as hell. They were fighting without water. I mean, they turn on a fire hydrant, there's no water that comes out, and they're sitting, and the fires are rushing at them at 30, 40 miles an hour. Those firefighters were brave. What happened to that state is incredible. And then you listen to, I remember when Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom were debating on your show. Yeah. And Newsom's talking like, everything's great. Oh, everything's great, just great, just great. More people left California this year than ever have left in history before the fire.
Before the fires.
But look at it. Take a look. And, you know, the amazing thing.
Let's talk about it.
People, many wealthy people lost their homes. I saw somebody on television, one of the wealthiest people, one of the most powerful people in the country, being interviewed as though he were a vagrant. His shirt was, and you have to know him. He's a mean, horrible human being. He's a tough guy, very tough guy, a horrible person. Yeah. But he's very rich. And
he's rich, but he's a horrible person.
No, he's a horrible human being. I know you have rich people that are very nice, but this guy's a terrible person. So I say, that's so-and-so. I said to Melania, I said, look at it. They were interviewing him as a guy that lost his house. He said, they took my house away. And he's literally in his underwear and his T-shirt. It looked like he just got out of the bedroom. And I say, that's one of the wealthiest guys in the country. Look at this guy. Take a look at him. Someday I'll tell you the name, maybe after the interview. Okay. But you won't even believe it. But he was on television as somebody that, and he was complaining they wouldn't let him go to his house, which was on fire. They wouldn't let him go because, you know, they don't want him to die. No, some of the wealthiest, most powerful people lost their homes. And it looked like our country was helpless. This fire was just raging, and then it would catch to another area.
Y'all comment down below who it was. I'm going to do my research after this video. Y'all comment down below who Trump was talking about. Comment down below.
Another area, another area. There was nothing. It took a week and a half, and I've never seen anything like it. We look so weak.
Will you give... Obviously, Americans want to help other Americans in need. Okay, fair enough. We do that. We got to help the people in North Carolina. They've been suffering.
Well, you know that's what I want to do. That's why I'm stopping there first.
You're going to stop in California.
I'm stopping in North Carolina.
Should the money be contingent on them practicing the science of forestry?
Well, I think this. I'm going to put a statement out today, I think, and maybe it's already written. I said, I don't think we should give California anything until they let water flow down into their.
It's from the north to the south.
This is a political thing. I don't know what it is. You know, they talk about the Delta smelt. It's a little tiny fish like this.
I went out.
They say it's an endangered species. Well, how is it endangered? No wonder it's endangered. It's not getting any water. How do you, if you have a fish and you're stopping the water, isn't that going to hurt the fish?
I did a show in 2009 from the San Joaquin Valley, Gavin Newsom's district.
Right.
And they wouldn't give thousands of acres of farmland water to protect that.
By the way, you see that now. I drove
crazy.
up the highway.
The
I was
Delta
with
smelt.
Gavin Newsom and other Republican congressmen. And I looked at these vast areas of land, and it looked like it was just burning. It was dark. It was dry. And then there'd be a little patch, little tiny patch of green, beautiful green. And I said, why? How come all this land has these little patches? They said, that's all that we're allowed to farm because we have no water. I said, are you having a drought? No. They've turned off the water. They've turned off the spigot from up north in order to protect the Delta smelt.
Let me move on to the
And by the way, I don't really believe it's the Delta smelt because nobody could do that. It's not endangered either. They have it in other locations, et cetera, et cetera.
They're doing seemingly everything they could do, like New York is in many ways, to chase people away.
No, but could you imagine today?
It's crazy.
When people, and the press doesn't like, when I talk about the water that they're turning into the Pacific, the press never wants to put it on. The fake news. They don't want to put it on.
You do realize that you have permanently tattooed into the forehead of legacy media the term fake news. You do realize they spent 9 years, 9 years attacking you from the moment you came down that escalator.
Moment he came down that escalator.
And they didn't stop.
Nah.
And here's the interesting part to me, is that all of the attacks, all the weaponization, all the FISA warrants, all the Russia, and we can go on. All the various venues, the J6 committee, which kept out a lot of pertinent information.
And how about the J6 committee? I call it the unselect. You know, they say the select.
But they didn't win.
No. What they did was criminal. That's why they got pardoned.
No,
they deleted and destroyed all of the information that they collected over 2 years.
Why else would they need a pardon?
And you know why? Because it proved I was right. All of that information was deleted and destroyed.
Let's talk about
They
it.
deleted all of the information having to do with the 10,000 soldiers that I offered to Nancy Pelosi, and she's now on tape admitting it.
I have 4 of the 5 people on tape, and General Milley was the 5th in writing, all saying that you authorized it in the days leading up. The Capitol Police Chief asked for the Guard, was begging for the Guard. Muriel Bowser, in writing, denied the use of the Guard.
But Nancy Pelosi even more strongly denied it.
She said that.
She was responsible for the whole thing.
She took responsibility.
And she took responsibility for her daughter.
Yeah.
When it was exposed,
You see, Democrats hate to hear this. Those liberals hate to hear this. People with Trump derangement syndrome, they hate to hear the truth. But let's talk about it. They still don't want to believe those videos that came out, of the transcript that came out, of the truth that actually came out. They still don't want to believe it. Conspiracy theories came to be conspiracy facts, huh? Wiped the man through the mud since he came down the escalator.
The daughter's tape, a videotape of her mother saying that she was responsible. And you know what? And they try to lose it. But
let me move on to the economy.
Unselect, remember this, the Unselect Committee, these people that were appointed, all Democrats, plus 2 worse than Democrats, that's crying Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, who lost her congressional seat by more than any person in the history of Congress. She lost by a number that nobody has ever lost by. You know why? Because usually when you have a poll and you're down by like 40 or 50 points, you're smart enough to drop out. She should have dropped out. At least she wouldn't have that moniker.
Before I go to the economy and foreign policy, as long as you brought up this topic, Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, who got a preemptive pardon, all these people that got pardoned, Anthony Fauci, did he know that NIH money through the EcoHealth Alliance was funding the Wuhan Virology Lab? There seems to be text and messages and emails that went back and forth. you talk about the unselect committee, as you call it, the January 6th committee. They had a predetermined outcome. General Milley, all these people, the Biden family members. Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time.
He thought, he heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their whatever, their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And you look at it, it all had to do with him. I mean, the money went to him.
Should Congress investigate that?
Well, I don't know. It's, you know, I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon.
Just can't make it up.
He didn't give some other people a pardon that needed it. And I heard Schiff went to him and just begged him for a pardon, because Schiff is a crook. Yeah. Schiff is a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician. He made up the story about Russia. He totally made it up. You know, he's a storyteller.
Pencil neck.
And then after he made it up, they found out that there was a tape of the conversation made by, you know, I guess the State Department. I don't know. When you make calls, they make tapes sometimes, not all the time.
He was the one talking to the Russians.
So he, in the meantime, made up the conversation, totally made it up about quid pro quo. There was no quid pro quo, just there was a perfect call. Tim Scott was the first one to come. He read it. He said, "This is a perfect call. What are you doing? You're impeaching a man for a perfect call." It was Schiff, Hillary, the whole group. You know what? They should. Schiff is just a bad, sick guy. And he went to Biden and he demanded a pardon because he thought he did something. He knew he did something.
Benny Thompson won the chairman of that committee.
Benny Thompson destroyed, along with that unselect committee, destroyed all of the work that took place over 2 years. You know why? It showed that I was right.